For today's lesson, we will be using, you should have a pencil, an eraser. I'd have your kneaded eraser. You'll need a micron pen. These are all in your art kit. The work that we did from before, you're going to need your graphic organizer that we did together and turned in already. You're going to need your hand shaded and all the background erased. And what we are going to do is we're going to start using these symbols, and you have to have a minimum of 12 plus your 3 letters, which are each a symbol. That's 15, and your letters cannot be stick. They must be some form of bubble letter. They could be even a graffiti style letter. That's going to be up to you how you want them to be styled. But you are going to be lightly beginning to put these symbols into your artwork. And we're going to make them appear like a background. And the first thing I'm going to put in here is I'm going to be putting in a paintbrush. And so I'm going to create the handle first. And if you're doing something that should have straight lines, I've given you each a ruler, so you should be using it. If something is starting on one side and then coming to the other side, it should be straight and matching up. And I am going to do this as well. Now, I have sitting in front of me, I have paintbrushes. So I'm drawing from a source that is actually sitting, I'm in my art room, and they're sitting right in front of me. So I'm actually looking at a source when I'm drawing from it. When I did this, I just quickly sketched them. I wasn't looking for something that would be ultra realistic. But when I go to put them onto this surface, I'm actually looking. And when I look at the ones that are sitting in front of me, they have like this double line that's in the metal part of the ferrule. And some of my brushes come to a point, some of them do not. I'm going to probably do more than one. But what we're creating is like a backdrop of these symbols put together. Now, I also did this. So I spent a few minutes and I got a Word document open and I started to gather up some of these that I just quickly sort of put together because I want to have something, a reference to draw from, especially those things that I've never drawn before. And I'm going to be using those references. Now, if, excuse me, if you have something that you, like let's say you wanted to do an emblem from, you know, the Ravens or from a sports team and you want it to be very accurate, I am okay with you doing this, that if you want to print something, and you'll have to sort of experiment with the size, and if you have a printer that you could do this with, otherwise you're going to be freehand drawing. You could print something, you could put this paper on top of it, take it to like a window. At school we'd be able to use a light box, but for being at home you would use like a window and you could trace part of it through. The only, and I don't have an issue with you tracing something because you are going to be combining all of these things that together that will make your own unique design. So like I'm going to use my cell phone as part of this, and I'm going to allow my cell phone to sort of go, and I'm going to trace it because it can be the exact size. So I'm going to trace around my cell phone, and I want it to go off on the edge. Okay, so I'm going to trace it. It'll stop when it hits my hand, and it'll stop like it's going to pass behind my paintbrush as well. And I would be drawing the inside edge. So here would be the inside. So I've got like the red border, and now I would draw the inside edge to my cell phone. And if it needs to be really straight, which it does, I'm going to go back and clean it up with a ruler. But this would be the inside edge to my cell phone. this would be the button down here, and I would find something round to trace that with. And I want my objects to layer like a wallpaper in the background. Now, for my dad, I had done a saw blade because he works or worked in his shop a lot. So I'm going to find something that is round to start his piece, and I'm going to then put the saw teeth on the outside. So if something should be round or something should be straight, you should find something to trace in your house. And this would be the center of the saw blade. And I'm going to just start building and overlapping. Now, you must do your letters as well. So I'm going to do my J sitting up here, and it'll go behind, I'm going to do a spiral part in here, and it's going to go like under my paintbrush and under, always under your hand. It should never, ever, nothing should lap on top of your hand. Everything is in that background. I'm going to do my letter P sitting under my hand, under my thumb here. So my P for Posy will sit on top of my phone and overlap a little bit there. And I'm going to put my G, I'm going to put the G somewhere in here. I would also suggest not doing too many things that are perfectly straight, like true verticals or true horizontals. Let some things pass like into the background on these like angles and passing off the page. If you put something that is a really strong vertical or horizontal that catches our eye, I'm going to do like, and sort of takes over, I'm going to do some musical notes. So I'm going to do like lines of music curving, and they're going to pass behind my letter G. And sometimes I'm like literally sketching over something, so I make sure it connects, then I'll get rid of it. So there's 4 lines, I need a 5th line, and then it's going to come out like it came to here and turned and went up. So I'll be putting those 5 lines like they're turning back up right here. And each time I put one of these in, like I'm going to put my Steelers football, probably passing behind this. And so don't make anything that's too small. You should not have any background space showing at all. So lightly start mapping things in. I'm going to put my palm tree. It's going to pass underneath my paintbrush and come up behind my letter J here, and then some of it will sit on top, like so my palm tree sprouts will go into this corner. So as I'm mapping things out, I'm figuring out what will sit on top, what will sit down below. I'm going to put my paw print coming out from under here with the little paws, and I had to look that up because I didn't really know what that should look like. But literally, I'm going to go through, and I should have minimum of 12. You certainly can have more. They should be overlapping and underlapping your hand in the background. So as you start putting them in, here's a different arrangement, but objects still starting to fill the space. When you have all of your objects mapped out, and I'm getting close on this one, and I started on this bottom piece here, when everything is mapped out, and again, I haven't finished up here, but you will then come in with your Micron pen, and you will trace around your objects only. Do not trace around your hand. We may eventually decide we want to do that, but first just trace your objects, making sure you stop right at your hand. Objects should not go through each other. Like I shouldn't here see, I'm going to make this horseshoe is going to pass behind my palm tree, but I shouldn't have a line going through it. So all those things need to be corrected in the sketch as you're putting it on there. before you trace it onto with a micron, because once you do it with a micron, there is no going back. Once you have traced your entire design and you have your minimum of 12 symbols and then your 3 letters in here, you then can go through with the kneaded eraser and erase away all of the excess pencil sketching. But I should see objects going out on every side right up to the edges. There should be no edges left blank and empty. So if there are, your objects aren't big enough. I do not want to see one big object and then a ton of little tiny ones. Like, you should have a variety, some large, some smaller, and once they are traced in the micron, you'll erase away with the kneaded eraser, and then you are ready for our next class. I want you to, we worked in class today on this. You will work in the 15-minute of independent learning on Wednesday, and then you must submit a progress of where you're at that point. My hope is everyone will at least have everything drawn on and that you've started to get over things in micron. I may give a few minutes of the next class period to finish with the micron and erase, but I'm going to demonstrate how to add color, and those that are ready will be able to use their color pencils, and there's a couple techniques we're going to learn to add color to this surface. So 12 symbols plus your 3 letters, that means 15. You should look at sources before you draw. If you want to print out and trace from a source, I'm okay with that, but it has to be then, you know, your own unique layering of objects and things together to turn in. So good luck.